everybody. Welcome to Rehash the Past. Today is our seventh episode, and we have a very special guest. It's not the seventh episode, it's the eighth episode. We're just doing so good, and we're moving things along every week. This week, we have a very special guest, our second guest here on our podcast, Miss Alicia. Um, she is a dear friend back from Miami days. I know her from being friends with Joe, and we've had a lot of times where we've danced and played jugger and sing music that we like, Bjork. And I think we saw another show or liked another band that we both liked. Bjork and Le Tigre and Julie Ruined and Kathleen Hanna. I think we both have a common interest in that. Um, and I'm really happy to have you, Alicia. Welcome to our show. Joe, do you want to?
Yay! Yay! Yay!
Yeah.
It's a celebration. Good times. Come on. Yeah, Alicia and I go way back. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person and ever so inspiring. We met, 25 years ago? I don't know, a long, long time ago. And we met
I think it was 23, yep.
23 years. And you've always had this spirit that I like to get as close and near it as possible. It's electrifying. There's a lot of adventures that we've been on. We've been to some highs, some lows, and it's always your traveling and your appetite for exploration of yourself and your spirit that you put out there and the work that you do. Very inspiring. Always a huge inspiration to me. So I'm so happy that you're here together. We're all super close buddies, and to be back together in this virtual environment after having been separated for so long is so cool. So I'm super excited to have you here, Alicia. Thank you so much for joining the Rehash the Past Podcast.
Yay! I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yay!
I know I've known both of these lovelies. Actually, you're right, Joe. It's 25 years.
25.
Yep, you're right. 25. I've known both of you for many, many years, and we go back from Miami days. I believe I met Joe in a mall. I was probably just fresh out of high school by hanging out by the arcade where the payphones were, and we had the same Doc Martens on. We both had steel toe shoe Doc Martens, and it must have been like 1995. And we hit it off because of the shoes, and Joe worked his magic and took me to my car, and then we got each other's numbers, and we've been friends ever since. And Sabrina was one of the magic makers, so me and Joe on and off have gone in and out of touch, obviously, for this many years. And when I was living in New York, when I would come visit Joe and my mom and everyone in South Florida, I came back to these lovely, lovely, beautiful people, and Sabrina was one of them. And I remember feeling instant family because Joe's family, your family, and it was like instant connection. And yeah, it was like a lovely group of friends. And even to this day, when I go back home to Florida, I don't have that, so this was a really special moment because I wasn't living in my hometown, and it was my first few years leaving my hometown, but it was still like I had some good things happening down there, and that was represented by you all.
Aww.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you were the pioneer to like also
Yeah,
leave
this is true.
Florida. It was both like a home, but also like, oh, there's other things beyond, Hollywood, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Inconceivable. Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
You did leave at a time where I don't think any one of us were thinking of leaving whatsoever at all. I think we were like
and
really
I just
still.
kind of snuck out too. I think it was 1998, and I just literally I just ducked out. Like it had always been my plan from a very early age, and New York was always on my mind. I remember having little dreams when I was like a little girl, and it must have been 1980, or something. And I was in my bed, and I would listen to "We Built This City," We built this city on rock and roll. And I would just sit there and daydream of my gem in the holograms, pink hair, and being in a band and the city lights, you know. And my heart knew that that was where I needed to be. I knew I was leaving because the flip flop culture wasn't for me, you know.
No doubt.
I knew the beach, it was cool, but it wasn't my thing, you know.
And you
So
slid
anyway,
into New York like a glove too, and you did slip away kind of in a mysterious sense because I remember not really knowing where you were in New York, but when I visited in 2001, I found you, straight up found you, without any pre-plan. It was when I arrived that I decided to look for you. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was working at a record store on St. Mark's, and next thing you know, Joe just comes walking in with his Snoopy jacket. You know, he just looked like Charlie Brown. He had this big winter coat on. I had never seen Joe in a coat, you know.
That's true.
And his steel-toe dock still. And it was just, yeah, that was when we rekindled, and we haven't lost touch since.
Wow.
So there was about, I think there were a couple years here and there, but yeah, once you refound me in New York, we never lost touch. And then you moved there.
Encounter. Yeah, I mean, you were the reason for that. I had gone there in 2001 without any sort of desire to move there, but it was while I was there that I was just completely overwhelmed by the electric nature of New York City, and absolutely, you were a huge part of that because you were the East Village, basically. You know, you were St. Mark's Place.
I was the St. Mark's Place girl. Yeah,
you lived in like the perfect area of New York City culture, like things that we would be interested in. It was awesome. I remember just getting videos of where you lived. I never actually visited you there when you lived there, but I saw a video of it with your friend who was so sweet, and she had the chicken butt
on a stick.
Oh, Lee Chang-yi. Yeah, Lee Chang-yi. Oh, she was the best.
Yeah. So I remember knowing that you lived there and where you lived and being like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's like the perfect like epicenter spot of.
It was a dream come true.
Yeah.
It was a dream come true. And it's funny thinking about it now. I remember feeling when it was happening, I remember feeling, oh, I missed the cool time, the 70s, the 80s. Like when my little 7-year-old heart was really feeling it was when it was cool. And I remember feeling like I missed it. Oops, I should stop this. But I remember feeling like I missed the beat. But now that we talk about it, Sabrina, you're right. Like it was I moved there in 99 winter. It was like October 99, and it was the perfect time. And it was, I could live in the East Village. I could afford it, you know, thinking now
that's over. You can't do that. It's changed again, you know. I know I always hear that like it changed. It used to be like this, but it's true. It was more accessible. There was a lot more independent stores. There was, everything. They had the sock person, the sock man.
There was reasonable rent too. You could
reasonable rent.
It was. Yeah. I lived in a little apartment on St. Mark's and Avenue A, and I had a roommate, and it was a closet, definitely. It was just a little room with a tiny window facing a brick wall. But I think I paid $575.
Wow.
Forget about it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That might as well have been 1922. That's
ancient
history.
I know. And then I moved after that place, I got a bartending job, which was incredible at the Continental. And I immediately started making way more money than I was at the record store. Yeah. And I moved to 11th and between 2nd and 3rd Avenue, which was pretty close by. And I got my own studio, and it was $1,000.
Oh my God!
Wow!
And I had rooftop access. I was the top floor, so the stairs to the roof was right next to my front door. So we were partying on the roof like every day because my apartment was below it, so it wasn't a big deal we were
That's
loud. We
amazing.
were just, yeah, we were up there having so many parties. You
That's
moved me into
amazing.
that apartment, Joe, didn't you? You moved me in. You were part of
Oh
that crew, weren't you?
yeah, yeah, that's right. And I think you
It
did
was you and I
pizzas for
had a
everybody,
crew.
right? Did you got pizzas
Yeah,
for everybody? Yeah, I think
yeah, of
so.
course.
I remember
Mm-hmm.
that. I think you kind of set
Mm-hmm.
a pizza precedent for me there, where I felt like if anyone asks me to help move, they have to buy a fucking pizza. It's the bare minimum.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah, you gotta get a pie. You gotta get a
you
pie.
got it, right? Especially if it's in fucking New York.
Yeah,
Oh
get a
yeah.
pie.
You
Get
gotta
two
get a
pies.
pie.
Just go ahead and hook your friends up. Get 2 pies.
2 pies, please. Yeah, there should be
Yeah,
leftovers
yeah.
so nobody feels guilty about that last slice bullshit.
That's what it's about, because they will get shy about that last slice bullshit.
Yeah,
Oh.
everybody's looking around, come
You're
on.
like, then you start
Man,
contemplating.
pizza.
Yeah, you start like getting the
Mm.
argument ready. Well, it's like I worked harder, and it gets in. It's dog eat dog, man.
It's
It's
a pizza
scarcity. It's
world.
like Wild Kingdom, That's what
Everybody's got to get their slice.
Mhm. That's that dirty dog shit, praying mantis style.
Yeah.
NYC, my God, so much has changed. It's so crazy. And just to put it
Yeah.
out there, because you're such a sweetheart, when I moved to New York City with Alan, you were there front and center at the door with a welcome
With
home
my
sign.
sign.
Oh,
Such a wonderful
Wow.
homecoming. We did the
That's
road
so
trip
nice.
from South Florida to New York, and you were there waiting as we pulled up, and that was so wonderful. And just to
wow.
highlight and underline that sentiment, when I moved to Germany to my first apartment, as I rolled up, you were standing in front of the door with a welcome home sign. So
Wow.
this is the caliber of guest we have right here on the show. This is
Wow.
lion heart
Tough
up in this face.
Tough. A little
Yeah.
tough. A little tough.
But-
Tough.
But don't get it twisted, people, because this is also a ferocious tiger as well. You got that balance going on where it's like you got that velvet glove holding the MC Hammer. I don't know how to.
I was hoping for Mike Tyson, but that's fine.
Mike Tyson, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, such a sweetheart. Oh my God.
That was great. I got lucky that I was in Europe at the moment that you were moving there, and the fact that also in Brooklyn, you were moving to my neighborhood at that point. I was in Brooklyn, and I got a message from I think it was one of you guys in the van that you were going to be there at this certain time. I mean, it was back in the day. There were no cell phones. I'm pretty sure someone called me from the last hotel you were at, and
Wow.
this is when I had a landline too. Of course, like we all did. And then you were like, I'm going to be there, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like organizing my day because I had a pet service at that time. So I was like walking dogs all over the city with my bike. And I was like, okay, I'll walk this dog here. I'll go here. And then I'll be there. And I remember hustling over. I didn't want to miss the pull up. And, yeah. And I made it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I mean, I felt at that point like this amazing crew that I had established and known for already so many years. They were actually making their way towards where I was. Sure, I know that I wasn't the only draw. It was New York City, but the fact that you guys were lunging, I wanted to make your experience and your welcome and your time there like the most amazing thing, So fireworks all the way.
That's you, girl.
Yeah. You're the bridge. You're the Brooklyn Bridge. brought South Florida over.
Yeah.
The Pied
It's a
Piper of
ripple
South
effect.
Florida. Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta like maneuver over technology. Like you can't be passive to it because it will consume you.
It reminds me of that Superman, I think part 3, where Richard Pryor gets like eaten up by all the cables and all that. You remember that scene?
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool back then. It was like all stop motion, I think, which I guess makes me think of you, Alicia, because you've had such an illustrious career in stop motion. And
Yes, I can't wait to talk about this. I'm
as a
so
kid,
interested.
like the best entertainment was stop motion. It was the most classic, whether it was Rudolph, or whatever it was. It was magical.
Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, Wallace and Gromit. There was Sesame Street bits too.
The first Godzilla.
Godzilla.
That was animated.
So
That's stop
cool.
motion. He was a little puppet. Yeah.
Terror Dogs and Ghostbusters. It was always so damn cool. And then there was kind of like a little bit of a lull, like where you didn't really see it
Mm.
kind of for a while. And it was almost
Yeah.
like maybe because the CG was rising up. I don't know, but it kind of like fell out. And then all of a sudden, Tim Burton came out with Nightmare Before Christmas, and then it started to come back up. And then the true like modern wave you rode because you worked with. Is it the largest stop motion studio in the world, or am I wrong? Or
Yeah.
seems like it would be.
Leica.
Yeah, Leica.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the Nike of stop motion.
Yeah, the Nike
Big,
of stop motion.
big. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what Leica from my little brain, because I love your work. You got Box Trolls, you got Paranorman, you got Kuba.
Yeah. Kubo and the Two Strings. Yeah, those are the 3 features I did with them. Yeah.
And they're amazing. And
it's truly a labor of love. I mean, the people that work there, and I'm working with people who worked on Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse's Bride and Mars Attack. That was stop motion. That was supposed to be. It ended up not being, but it was supposed to be puppets. But yeah, I'm working with the legends, the legends that did all this really fun stuff. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Could you take us on like what your typical day would be like?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, each production has been a different job. So I started as a puppet wrangler on Paranorman, which basically, I'll give you a brief sum of what that is. That's basically, I had a library of puppets. And when I moved into that office, there was only one puppet existing. And it takes months to churn out a puppet that goes through many departments. And basically, by the time we were in full production, I had 200 puppets.
Wow.
And they were about 50 stages. So each puppet, had to be on time when the set was ready. Their hair had to be done. The props had to be continuity, their backpack, whatever the case may be. He had his hoodie on. All that continuity had to be in check. So I was basically like that's what you call a puppet wrangler.
Wow.
And that was pretty intense, but it was fun. I moved into a dusty old closet and I made spreadsheets. I had boards, charts. I had the stage map. I had magnets. I had little receipts that I made, what time it came in, whose puppet it is. And I made all the systems, and that was my funnest. I love creating systems. So for me, that job was like a good brain tease, first getting into stop motion and being able to create my own system on how to organize these puppets with the stage schedule. And also each animator likes to tension them differently, and they like to have it different for each scene. So that was a whole thing to get used to. This number 7 Norman was Jason's puppet, and he likes a loose tension when he's doing a run, and all these specifics. So it was like I was a bartender at that point. And when I got the job, I think when they realized I could write paychecks without fucking it up, they were like, she can deliver puppets without fucking it up.
That's amazing. Because you had both kind of those 2 experiences in your resume and your work history is working with puppets, right? Because I think you worked with them in New York City as well. Like you had some.
No, I didn't. In New York, I was no. I didn't do anything as far as that goes in New York, except for my own stuff, like my own costume making when I was a robot and stuff like that. But no, I never did anything professionally. But I had friends that worked at a shop that made those large puppets.
That's I think that's what I'm thinking of.
For like the Thanksgiving parade.
Randy Carfagno.
Yeah.
I worked there for a little while too.
Oh, you did? See, Joe worked there.
Oh, okay.
With Jason. Hey, I wanted to ask you just a quick, because it popped in my head. Whenever you're like immersed in something for a long time and it's so different than the real world, sometimes it has like an impact when you go back into the real world. Like example, you play Tony Hawk, on the PlayStation all day, and then you go outside and you start seeing like, different angles that you can hit with the board or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So if you're in this environment with all these miniatures, like thousands, because there's like countless miniatures, does that have any sort of psychological thing on it? Because to see like a miniature world like that, does it make you feel bigger or anything like weird? Am I missing something?
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. So I have always had an obsession with feeling really big or feeling really small. So it goes both ways. And in my performance art, I always wanted to do a show where it was like, you know, I don't want to mention the comedian's name because he's a jackass, but the one with the big couch. And, you know, I always wanted to create a set for myself where I was like in this big world and I was just little, or I was big and everything, you know. So I've always been obsessed with this. So working in that environment completely made my dreams come true because I'm constantly in an environment where things are just itty bitty, the little glasses, the little, I mean, every little prop is made. So when I would go into model shop is what the name of the shop was, and they would have just bins of people making this, and you just see all of this stuff. It's just heartwarming, and it makes me feel like I'm right where I belong because this has been my obsession my whole life, you know. So
That's amazing.
It does have an impact on you for sure, Joe. For sure.
Yeah. I think they should be standing there with like the little Alice in Wonderland, like drink me before you enter the door to that studio, you know? Just to like
or a little door. You have
yeah. I imagine it must be magical to be on the set. You know, I've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff on the Blu-ray from Box Trolls, and I imagine to be there must be really kind of awesome.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Also, when you start these projects, you know, they start, I mean, there's nothing made, you know, there's not even a stage made. There's some ground plane or maybe a tree that's approved by the art director, you know, that's going to be the tree that they're going to make for the forest. And then all of a sudden people start churning things out. And then all of a sudden whole sets start rolling into these curtains and you're just enamored. You remember when there was nothing. And then all of a sudden there's all this stuff. And it's almost like watching a miracle happen, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
It's pretty incredible. And on this project that I'm on right now is pretty incredible because this is the first time that I had the opportunity to start in pre-production. So literally nothing was built, nothing was designed. We didn't even have a script. So it's been really cool watching it go from literally zero to.
Can you tell us more about your current project?
So I'll just be able to tell you what you can find on the internet, which is I'm working on Pinocchio, and it's directed by Guillermo del Toro, and we're making it, and it's been really challenging because of quarantine, but you know, we're making it happen.
Yeah. So. How has that affected?
We're all working from home.
Oh, even the puppets and stuff, like.
Yeah, I mean, we're all trying to all do what we can from home for sure. And there has been some kits rolled out to animators' houses. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we're really trying to do what we can do to keep things moving. But I believe in Oregon we should be back to the studio hopefully in a few weeks. The governor just announced yesterday she's waiting another week, which everyone is really disappointed because we were hoping to get in next week. But yeah, luckily for animation, you can kind of social distance because the animators essentially work alone. So, so hopefully we'll be able to roll back in as soon as we can. Yeah.
It's such a group project to do stop motion, you know, like whereas maybe other films, like a lot of attention's focused on the director and the actors, perhaps, you know, like everyone's thinking of those things. But with a stop motion film, like the ones I've seen that you've worked with, it's impossible to think that there's just that in terms of strength. You know what I mean? So like when I used to work as a waiter, you know, like there was like a hierarchy. You don't fuck with the cooks because it's like that's like, you know, you get the cook angry, the whole thing's fucked, right?
Yeah.
You can't fuck with the cook. So even if you're the manager or the boss or the owner, you don't go fuck with the cook. Who's the unfuckable on a stop motion set?
Well, all of the jefes, you know, because we've got a bunch of them. So you don't want to piss off any major role because then it's going to trickle. Everyone knows it's going to trickle down. So yeah, for the most part, that's a challenging part of these stop motions. They're about 2 years long, maybe 2.5 years long. So maintaining good relationships and being positive and not letting things get to you was challenging in the beginning, especially when you have people yelling at you and maybe not acting 100% right. But also just staying professional and keep rolling and keep smiling and maybe go to the bathroom and pull on your hair and scream and cry a little bit. But, that's kind of how I maintain my professionalism, is I kind of like to just stay professional and keep rolling, because if I then internalize that and take it out on someone else who's smaller than me, because the big boss took it out on me, and then I then take it out on a puppet maker or, anyone else, then it just continues. So my whole thing was, I was really feeling strong about it, just stopping it in its tracks.
Yeah.
They were in a bad mood. I'm going to stop that right here. That's not going to continue to roll on. I'm going to go to lunch. I'm going to scream in my car, listen to punk rock as loud as I can, and scream. But I am not going to I really tried my hardest to not, let it keep rolling, because I found that it was really easy to do. And it's like a small village. We're talking at Leica, it was like 350 people.
Right.
It's a small village.
Right.
You don't want to, so you have to kind of it's that small town mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really important for anybody out there who's thinking about their career, or if you're, younger and you're just starting out. That's a big thing that I don't think is talked about enough, is how to deal with people yelling at you and being yucky, towards you in a work environment, how to rise above that. And I think like what you're saying is really good advice for anybody out there, to not internalize it, to, just keep it at arm's length, that it's not really about you, it's their problem.
Yeah,
and not to
totally.
Keep going. I like what you said, that it stops here, and that helps everybody below you and even the people above you, because you're being a role model to them, that, oh, my subordinate is still, keeping her shit together while I'm here yelling like an asshole. It works both ways, and helping people get through a tough situation, at work. So I appreciate that you shared that.
De-escalation.
De-escalation.
It's all about de-escalation. Yeah.
Yep, and that's
the hero in any conflict, is the one who's de-escalating it.
Yeah.
100%. And I'm from Miami. I'm Latina. I mean, it's not easy. It was not easy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I have fire inside, and it burns.
But yeah,
knowing when to let that fire out, and I box now, and I jump rope, and I know I have to let that fire out somewhere. But being mature enough to go, I'm not going to just berate this, Walgreens clerk, I'm not going to continue to throw this shit around on everyone. I'm going to actually completely stop it. If people do it to me, and what's funny is I picked that up as a small child. I remember maybe because other people were internalizing or other people were screaming. I remember immediately going, I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. I made that choice. I think I was about 7 or 8, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. And it took me years to figure out what I was going to do. I would get haughty and I would lose it. When I was 18, I would lose it when I was 15. I couldn't control it. But now being an adult, I can control it. And I feel like I've had it under control for the last at least 10 years. But it's hard to do. But it can be done. You just have to kind of think about it. And the thing for me at Leica was there were so many jefes that were looking at me and judging me that I knew for a fact, if I would have fucked that up and I would have yelled and got Miami and lost my load, they wouldn't have hired me back.
No doubt.
Why? I was a PA. I was like I was at a starter level position, but because I kept my cool, completely rely my entire career on that. That is what they kept hiring me for, because Alicia's still coming in with jokes. She had the shittiest day. None of her sets started. People are yelling at her. She's still coming in with a joke and a smile. And
Yeah.
how does she do it, you know?
Right. Absolutely. I think that's a really powerful way to look at career and life and dealing with people, especially in a time like now where people are, like we said, like they could be stuck at home for a long time. Like there's a lot of social unrest, a lot of bad things happening. And I think that's important to be mindful and intentional and the way you behave and react to people. Um, if they're not treating you well, you have a choice how to react.
Yeah, people forget they have a choice.
Yeah, you don't have to just react like a an animal with
Yeah,
no
in the
thought
wild, like,
Yeah, in the mind.
yeah, yeah.
Cobra
How
Kai,
an
strike
animal
first,
would.
strike hard, no mercy, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but
we're in that space right now, I feel like, in the country. Like, it's not good.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But
true.
things are changing. You know me, I'm hopeful. I'm like blind hope over here. I'm nothing but PMA. Things are changing. This is going to be great. This is already great. The list of things that have already changed in the last couple of weeks. Like
Yeah, that's true.
people get hurt and this shit sucks, but you know what? Things are changing. We're feeling the ground move into this consciousness of people
Yeah.
going, wait a minute, we all are one. And until we all completely realize that when he's hurt or she's hurt or they're hurt, I'm hurt. Until we
Yeah.
all completely realize that. And I think that's starting to slowly happen. It's going to take a long time because we were so just us, just us, just us. Finally, now this all is one. I really do think that's the key. Because once they realize, no matter who it is, once they're hurt, I don't know about you guys, I feel hurt. I feel the
Yeah.
pain. I
Sure,
can
yeah.
literally feel it. I can feel it.
Mm.
And once we all finally let down all that garbage and hate and all this bullshit about we don't agree on things and go, I saw that video, I feel pain. We
Yeah.
are all connected, you know?
Yeah.
And I do think it's slowly happening. And we have to have hope. Things are changing. It's gonna be awesome. Future's coming. Gotta do it. The kids got this. They're on the front lines and they got this.
Yeah.
You know?
No doubt. Yeah.
Power to the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's already I was surprised there was the Breonna Taylor law where you're not allowed to just barge into someone's home. Like the police can't do that, which is crazy that we have to have a law against that. What? When did that become legal?
Yeah, and now, like, why didn't this happen 50 years ago?
I don't. It's crazy. And outlaw
crazy.
chokeholds. Why? I don't remember chokeholds in the 80s. I just remember your Miranda rights and getting like handcuffed and then put in the car. There was no of any like this MMA style like combat. It's really
Well,
crazy.
I mean, Do the Right Thing is from what, 1990 or something like that? And I mean, the whole film centers around Radio Raheem getting chokehold until he's dead. So, I mean, that was a feature film, you know, with a international release. So it was known. It's just that it wasn't so
capture it
exposed as it is now.
Right.
There was a depiction in a film, as a fictional film, but I mean, obviously inspired by true and real events, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys though. I think it is awesome already. You know, the power of love is so like up in your face just as much as the power of evil. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like turn this way, wow, turn this way, oh, you know, it's like it's so heightened on both sides. You see it so clear. And I think one is very attractive. It's like a bed of roses, you know, and it's just a matter of time until people smell that sweet smell and make their way over from the other side, you know, because once you get that taste, then you make haste. You run for the hills, the green hills of Foreverland. You know what I mean? Yeah, power in the people. The people are powerful. You know, all power goes to the people, and that's where the change happens. That's where the love happens. That's where family, friends happens. That's where everything happens. Don't give, too much credit to the masters at the top of the pyramid. They're literally just ripping everybody off of the work that they've done, others have done. You know what I mean? It's like
Absolutely,
they're really not doing. It's like basically those hedge fund manager guys. I'm rolling out with 3 yachts and I'm like, busting nuts here and there. But it's like, what did you do? You manipulated some numbers on the backs of thousands of people's work and effort and productivity. But you're there like this, and then you're getting all this financial reward. So it's like they don't deserve much credit, really. It's like ups and downs. Let's just take it. Let's eat it. Let's own it. It's us. We're on the ups and downs, and we're on the way up. It's pretty cool. I feel like we're approaching like a pretty epic love-in, you know what I mean? Where people are just so gushing on each other for like the simplest attributes and personality traits, where it's just like, I love you for that. Oh, you're so wonderful for that. Oh, I love that unique quality. Oh, I've never seen that in somebody before. Oh, your hair, your eyes. It's coming. It's fucking coming. People want it, and it's coming. People get it in the protests. Here. You got 50,000 strong in LA, and they're feeling that vibe. They're like, I love your shirt. I love your tie. I love your smell. I love your breath. I love your fucking crooked ass fucking toe. It's reaching that level.
You had to do that.
I had to, because that's the level. It's getting to that level. People are going to be loving on everything when it comes to humans and life and the respect and dignity and all of that. So it's awesome, man.
It's awesome. And it starts, and people remember, it starts here.
No doubt.
Yeah.
You gotta love yourself.
That's why every time there's a problem, I call you. I'm like, it starts. I know where it starts. I'm like, speed dial. I know where that shit starts. The jump off over there in Portland. I know what's up.
You guys know RuPaul, right? I'm sure.
You know that's where it came from. That he's my hero. He's my hero.
Me too. He's so like spiritual and creative. Like I feel like that's where we need to go. In the spiritual, artistic avenue.
We just need to go to a place where people aren't afraid to be who they are.
Yeah. If you can't love yourself, how in the
hell are you gonna love
but that doesn't necessarily mean taking away the fear. Like it is the magical part of like being brave enough to explore your space, to be yourself, and to see how it goes. It's like test by fire. Then you learn, okay, certain things may not be so great. Let me change that. Other things, wow, I didn't know people would like this. Wow. And it's like, I think, it's not about like trying to make it like Baby Planet, where everyone's like, ooh, and it's like, no, rubber fucking walls and all that, gummy corners and shit. It's just that we gotta, inspire a great amount of, just to respect each other and to give that knowledge that like, it's hard, but you're going to be received. Like it's not like you're going to fall off the cliff. It's just that nobody can really hold your hand as you cross over that. Like out of your comfort zone. Everybody's got a comfort zone. Some of it is just like a lazy boy couch, and that's as far as that's the parameters. Others have a city. Mm-hmm. Others have the world. So we want everyone to have that experience of like expanding their comfort zone. It's like, new thing, unknown.
The brain doesn't like that initially. The brain rejects that.
You're correct.
The brain says, no, I know what I like. I like, the same meal every day.
I'm like that though.
Yeah.
We all are. We're human.
Yeah,
we're
human. That's our default. If you don't challenge yourself, you will always stay in that space. But that's what's hard about it. When we say like, oh, it's hard, it's hard work. Like it's literally difficult because your brain is not happy and you're actually creating new, connections.
Yeah,
you're building a new part of your brain every time you get out of your comfort zone. It's like a physical change that happens.
It's so you're
going against your own self. You're going, everything in my body is saying, it's like when I get on stage, when I started singing, everything in my body is telling me to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Everything, my whole, ooh, sick. I'm sick.
Yeah.
You know, you don't think I was scared when I first moved to New York City? I was shitting my pants, and it didn't go well the first time. I had to move there a second time. It didn't stick the first time. My ass was right on the same U-Haul I shipped in, and I went straight back to mama's house. It was pretty scary, and scary things did happen. And, you know, the person I was with got hurt, and, you know, things are scary. That's the thing, you have got to challenge and go against everything that your body is telling you not to do sometimes. That's the only way you're going to get your dreams made or your shit done, you know?
Yeah.
The first time I went to Europe, I was shitting my pants. I had no idea what was going to happen. I flew to my grandparents' house beforehand just to tell them that I love them. I was like, I might not come back, you know, like, I love you.
That's how I felt when I met you in Budapest. I was like, I'll see you in a week. I love you so much.
I know. And you weren't even going that far. You didn't even cross an ocean.
No doubt. Meanwhile, I get there, everyone's like, hi, how you doing? Here's a menu. Everyone's speaking English. It's fucking cheeseburger restaurants on every block. I'm like, okay, why the fuck did I think it was Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones? Maybe I should have Googled Budapest at least once. You know, because you're the one that you said Budapest. I was like, cool. But I don't like spoilers. So like if I go to a movie, I'd rather not even see the poster. Like I really would rather be totally blind.
I'm the same way. No trailers. Yeah.
So that's how I treated that Budapest trip. And for some reason, I was like, Budapest. Like, no. I'm like, are we going to eat? Like, there's no fortune cookie, Indy. Like, what's going to happen in Budapest? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No, and that's our nature. That's our nature 100%.
Yeah.
100%. If our brains had it our way, we would just stay on that little comfy chair with the screen, and we would just be like that. What's that animation? The CG one? It's them, and they're all just like in their chairs. They don't even walk anymore. What's it?
It's a movie, right?
Yeah, it's a movie. It's like the future.
WALL-E.
It's totally
WALL-E.
the future.
WALL-E.
Yes. Yeah, WALL-E. And all their necks go down because they're looking at their phones. You know. Anyway, if our brains had it the way we wanted it, we would literally just be zombies in this life, because everything about this life is hard. Everything about this life. School when you're a kid, getting a job when you're an adult, driving on the highway. Remember how scary that was the first time you did it? Shit your pants. Cars everywhere. You know, now I like
somehow
do it on
I
a
wish I
motorcycle,
had that.
You know?
I didn't have that. When I first got like
You
my
weren't?
license to drive, I was like cannonball fucking run down the street. Didn't matter.
You did not physically feel scared on the highway.
I don't know. I don't know, man. It was a healthy kind of, you know.
Yeah.
It was a healthy, unhealthy. It was a healthy, unhealthy relationship because I had zero fear, which is good. But I put a lot of my occupants in dangerous situations because, holy shit, I got into a lot.
Yeah, we were.
Your family is always like, no, you can't drive. No, you can't use the car.
Who,
no.
me? My parents, my family, yeah.
There's always like a hush, like
resistance.
No. Yeah. Like we can't have Joe driving.
It was that damn brick wall that got in my way that one time. You know, when I was 16.
Yeah.
Stupid brick wall. I was just trying to drive my friend Jenny Pretzel home, and it's like, what the fuck? How did this wall get here? You know? And then maybe I shouldn't have just pulled the car in the garage and told my parents that when I exited the mall, it just looked that way. You know, maybe that kind of killed the trust factor with me in the car scenario for a while. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like happens. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. I came out from the parking lot and it was like that. My dad's like, there's no fucking way that all four sides of the car are fucking damaged from me parking in a bike. I was like, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's true.
You're like, yep.
The same tactics, Joe, from when you were a child.
What's that?
You used as a teenager.
I'm sorry, what?
You use the same tactics like when you were a child.
Oh, yeah. When I was a teenager, I was a child, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know how I peed my pants. I don't know how I peed. I don't know.
Try 1 minute,
Just
get the next. What am I, fucking Isaac Newton? You want me to explain this shit? I don't know.
I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor.
The fuck? I like Ghostbusters, doesn't mean I am one. Shit.
Oh.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about your stop motion real quick. It popped in my head when you were talking about it. There's a lot of like fun around Easter eggs and shit like that people put in the movies. And I'm thinking with stop motion, there's like so many millions of opportunities to hide stuff. Is that something that happens? Is that like a thing?
Sometimes there'll be like a model maker who is like a person who makes a small sign to a store, or any of those little, they call them models, so sometimes you'll see a model maker's name, or last name, or there'll be little cute little gems like that for sure.
Cool.
Yeah. It's easy to do. There's so many little things, you can flip in. Yeah.
Like I would think, like if you're making the jewelry or the accessories, you might just make one of your favorite, like copy like something from your world, like there's probably so many of those like hidden little things happening.
Yeah, we have some Easter eggs that I wish I could share with you right now, but I can't. But once the movie's out in 2 years, I'm gonna share you my Easter egg.
Nice.
Nice. We'll make it a date 2 years from now.
Yeah, 2 years.
While we're rolling.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we get that good Crocs sponsorship.
Yeah.
Crocs, the shoe?
Yeah, Crocs, the shoe.
Oh, yeah. Why not? Right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Let's throw some love on some Crocs up in here. Why not?
Yeah.
Most comfortable shoe for the working person.
Totally.
Did you see that like video that was going around, how the person dipped the Crocs in this like tie-dye paint and pulled them out?
Oh.
No.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it was funny because I thought like, wow, this is getting shared like everywhere. Like, so people like Crocs now because they're dipped into this Willy Wonka paint? Like, everyone fucking hates these shoes, but because they're being pulled out of the, like, now it's like in vogue or something? Because, I don't know.
I think so. People are that like shallow. It's like a trend to dip stuff in, it's hydro printing, I think.
That's right.
It's a trend.
Speaking of dipping.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Speaking of dipping.
Tell us about what you're saying.
Well, I was going to say, Alicia, you turned me on to my first pommes frites. I live in Germany where pommes frites are everywhere, right? But you brought me to that place in the East Village, and they had like 50 different dipping sauces. And it was really cool little place, right? They gave you free red wine with every purchase of pommes frites. And they had like a creamy Parmesan and a peanut sauce.
What's pommes frites?
It's like those Belgian fries.
Oh.
And they come in like a cone, kind of like an ice cream cone place, but they just have like those little rings. So when you buy it, they just slip it in the cone, you give them their money, and then you get your sauce. They had like a 50 flavors. It's still there. I'm almost positive. I was in New York in November. I try to go back as much as I can. I'm pretty sure when I went back in November, I was like, there it is. It's still there.
Nice.
Because this last trip, we were focused mainly on the East Village, because the last prior trips I had been staying in Brooklyn so much. I was like, no, this trip we're going to spend lots of time in my old hood. And we just kicked it in the East Village like almost the whole trip. It was really cool.
Did you hit the Indian restaurant for a birthday party?
I got a photo of it, and the two guys were standing outside, and I was like, yeah, we didn't go in because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. They're always there. Yeah.
Fighting over you. But they're best friends. Yeah. It's so funny. I love it how aggressive they get, and then once the patron decides who they're going with, it's like back to being friends.
Yeah. We had some pierogies at Veselka. It was delicious. I just miss. I would move back to that city in a heartbeat if I had like a short-term job there for a couple months. Bam, I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that city.
Is Mamoon still there?
Yes, there's a location now on St. Mark's across the street from my old job. It's like where the record store was. Mamoon's is just a little bit down that street.
Nice.
Yeah. So instead of going to the original one where we used to always go to you're talking about the one by the park, right, Sabrina?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
that was the OG little one where you walked in right by Washington Square Park.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So now, anyway, I didn't even hit up the old location. I just went to the St. Mark's one because it was hella convenient
Mm.
Nice.
and as tasty. Yeah, it was as tasty. Yeah. I wanted to circle back on challenging things. I'm totally scared of heights. I get vertigo, I get dizzy, I get crazy. I feel like I'm going to force myself to jump off whatever cliff I'm standing on. And so a couple of years ago, maybe it was like 8 years ago or 7 years ago, I jumped out of an airplane with someone attached to
Ah.
me.
Oh,
And
wow.
believe me, I had to force myself.
I saw that video. You posted it, I think, on YouTube.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
on YouTube and I posted it
Yeah.
on Instagram. Yeah, but I had done it many years prior to the video. I paid for the guy to videotape it and I didn't do anything with the video for about 5 years. That's my style.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of slow. I'm kind of slow.
For sure.
But yeah, anyway, what an amazing experience. And like to think that I would have not done it because I was scared is
Yeah.
completely like bullshit. Like, what the fuck, Like, I was sure I wanted to puke and I was scared. And the scariest part about it was when your feet, you slide to all your little friends go down, one down, two down, three. You're the next one in line. And then he scoots you to the edge of the plane and you see your little tootsies, but you see the squares of land like you do when you're in an airplane.
Oh, wow.
You know, the squares
Yeah.
of farms. But then you see your cute little, Converse that you got on and your little jeans and you're going, whoa. And then
Wow.
I blacked out for a couple of seconds, I think, as soon as he did the push.
Oh, yeah.
And,
so he pushes. You don't.
well, he kind of like he gives me a signal, and I'm like, I think I did the thumbs up, and then we go. But when your legs are dangling there, there's not really a no at that point. I mean, you probably could, but you've already signed all the documents, you've already done all the shit, So anyway, but yeah, little tootsies, a little blackout, and then immediately your brain goes, "Oh, you're here now." And you're talking about you're flying through the air with the squares. But your brain, once you reset and go, this is where I am now, just like I'm sitting in this kitchen with these curtains behind me. Once your brain goes, oh, this is where I am now, you're totally 100% fine. You're just here now. You're just flying through the air. And then next thing you know, the chute goes up and you're going, oh, now I'm like swinging, like a swing on a tree, but I can still see the squares.
Totally.
And then next thing you know, you land like totally not.
Wow.
Like totally fine. I don't like roller coasters, but I could go and jump out of an airplane with a person strapped to me. So I say go for it. If you're scared, go for it.
Yeah.
We went on a one of those shoot 'em in the sky. Slingshot. Yeah, we went on a slingshot, Joe, one time. Do you remember?
You and I. Yeah.
Yeah. At the
Boomers,
place next to the
right?
Boomers. Yeah, next to the highway.
Yeah, totally.
In
I used to love that thing. I used to love to be the guy who gets to pull it. To describe it, you go up with your friends, either 2 or 3 people, and you're basically lying belly down in a hammock of sorts. And the 3 or 2 people get lifted, each in their own hammock of sort thing. But one person has the ripcord, and when you get to the top, they're like, pull it, pull it. And it's like, oh yeah, should I pull it? And I love fucking with the people I'm with. Okay, 3, 2, 1. No, I didn't do it. And I remember one time we went up there. It was George, me, and Ian, and we got to the top. And I remember the guy was like, make sure that you link your arms together because you're in your individual hammocks, but there's one rope attached to those 3 things. So if your arms are linked together, then you have a fluid motion down and back up as you fly through the air. And I remember it was George that was in the middle, and Ian was on one side, I was on the other. And then woo! And I look, and it's George's face and Ian's feet, and I was like, what the fuck? And I felt him grab my feet, and so I was like, oh god damn! So I grabbed his feet, and I thought for the life of me that was the only way that he was alive. I was like, I have his feet, and he has my feet. But really, of course, there was other things in play here. But I held onto those stinky ass motherfucking feet like it was like, you know, no tomorrow. But I love that slingshot stuff. Love it.
So you did that too, Sabrina?
Yeah, wasn't it vertical? Am I remembering wrong? Like you could see like the ground, like you were looking like down, like you weren't necessarily like looking up into the sky. It was kind of a weird view.
It wasn't a slingshot. That was the wrong word, actually. The slingshot is like kind of when you're pulled back and then whoo kind of thing. But this thing is we lied down on our bellies and they lifted us up, right? And then, like yeah, exactly, like a pendulum or something, right? What would you call it?
Oh, I see. So you get hoisted up and then you swing like this.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, cool. So you go down real fast. Superman style, like, you know, diving in.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're kite flying or something like that.
Yeah. Cool. That sounds fun.
Yeah, that was fun. But that's the closest I've been to like being into the plane. I don't think I would do that.
Well, it's not for everybody. It's definitely not for everybody.
I've always wanted to do that, and I will one day.
Do that?
Oh yeah, I've bungee jumped when I was like 16 in Florida.
You did?
No, 15 maybe, because it was before I moved there. We were on a holiday, and I remember the waiver, in case you're dead, and it was the largest crane bungee jump in the United States, was the flyer and all that. And I was so excited to do it because I had always wanted to do it. And I remember my sister was going to do it, but when she saw it, she's like, no, I'm out. Yeah. I'm out. So I remember I went up there, and I remember being at the top and my family down below, and I'm like waving. I'm like, you know? And they're just standing there. And I realized, wow, I'm so high up, they can't see my arm.
Right.
And then it dawned on me, and I'm like looking down. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Oh, no.
That's when you get scared.
I just got scared because I felt like someone was just breaking in the house. I'm like, oh, spook! I hate that. And then you see like a shadow, and it looks like some kind of weird Star Wars figure creeping around the curtain. Jeez, please. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I remember the worst part about it was standing at the edge, kind of like you were describing with the footsies, right? But the worst part is when they put the bungee cord over the side, and then you felt the weight.
Right, because the weight.
Oh. You felt the weight, and you felt it like, oh, damn, I'm being pulled over the side. Yeah, like, you know, this bungee cord weighs a lot, and you feel it. And that's when he's like, you know, you got to go now. There's a storm coming. You know.
There's a storm coming.
That's what he said. Yeah, right, there's a storm coming. Well, I think it only takes like 3 seconds, so... You know, even if I see the storm up in my grill, I can still make it down there. It's not like I'm going down a ladder, homie. You know what I'm saying? It could start raining, and I go, whoop. You know, it's like I'll make it.
Yeah.
But I guess you don't want to be on a metal crane if the storm's coming.
No. Well, we can try to do something like that when I come to Europe next, Joe.
Totally. Yeah, you remember the last time?
I'm sure.
In Budapest, we almost did it, and where I fucking became a pancake at the bottom of that beautiful monument or whatever it was we were visiting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned that in a previous podcast.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. How did you become a pancake? I forgot.
We were at that amazing thing in Barcelona, and there was cannons. I don't remember what that was, but it was high up on the hill, and there was like... we were on the second floor of this big thing, and there was like an elevated, like almost like as if it was like a little bit of a, you know, waist high elevated wall that you can sit on, whatever. And I was like, yeah, take a picture, jumping picture, right? And I went up on that wall, but that wall was preventing people from going like a 3-story drop, right? This like little wall that I jumped up on top of.
Tiny. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like being a horse's ass up there, right? Because obviously that's way more important than securing my fucking feet on the ground or, you know, like having any respect for gravity whatsoever. So yeah, I remember being a horse's ass, and then I remember
you were being a horse's ass.
And it was like I turned into a ghost. You know, I felt like zero blood in my body. I felt my intestines were gone. Everything was gone. I was just a fucking like, ooh. And I stepped
I
down
do
off there 10
remember.
years older, you know, with more gray hair, everything.
Yeah.
It was really frightening to realize.
They were like, pew, 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 pew.
Yeah. Because I was just thinking, oh my God, if that would have happened, you would literally have to call my family and be like, yeah, Joe was being kind of funny. He was, you know, he was having fun. What happened?
That would have
Yeah,
been
well,
terrible.
I was taking a picture of him, and then he just fell off. What do you mean? Well,
Oh God, that would have been awful, terrible.
Really?
But yeah, that ledge was no, it wasn't even here. I think it was like mid-thigh.
Yeah, it was like a little
It was just mid-thigh. You didn't even, maybe even a knee.
knee,
It was,
probably knee.
you know, it wasn't high. So you got the feeling that there must be something on the other side of this castle protecting this.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, there was nothing.
There was nothing. That was it. That was the protection. It's the little wall.
Yeah, just don't go up that little wall there.
And I think I remember I broke like a little rib too when we were there on that cannon. Also from being a horse's ass.
You pulled.
I don't remember how I did it, but I
Broke
remember
your little rib.
yeah, my little rib. My baby back rib.
Your tiny rib. You broke
Barbecue
your
sauce.
Your little innocent rib was broken. Oh.
He got on the cannon like he was 10 years old, like this, barrel hugging it, going, you know, for the photo. And I'm going, this thing is big, it's heavy, it's like, and you were just being a horse's ass on the cannon. So I could see how a rib would have easily just poked into that very dense cannon material and hurt.
For weeks, for months, yeah.
We had a good trip. We had a really good trip that time.
The
That was
best.
fun.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was fun.
Horchata!
That was fun.
Yeah, it was the best. Mojito, ice cream mojito.
Hey, I have to put this on record. That was the first time me and Joe went to a beach in our entire life and made a day of it and had a blast.
Made a fucking week of it. We went every fucking
We
day.
did it every day. You went every day.
Yeah, that's all we wanted to do.
We would wake up in the morning and grab our little towels and our little snacks and we're like, beach, you know, and then we would get out there and we got a little umbrella. And
that's so funny because both of you are not beach people.
You know what I have to say though? If anyone out there feels like if you're not a beach person, right, but you think there might be a little room in there for you, go to a beach with 1,000 topless models and you might change your mind. You might warm up to the idea.
Truth. It was pretty Babeland.
I'm just keeping it real. Just keeping it real.
You got to keep it real. You got to keep it real. We were in Babeland. It was pretty epic. But yeah, I think that was when for you and me a brain fold happened. We finally could enjoy the beach. Being from I grew up in Miami. You didn't, but you spent a lot of your time there. For the first time, we were like, we like this. And
we haven't left it there either. Every time we have the chance, we were like, can we go to a beach? And then we took it to another level in Budapest with that thermal bath, which is a phenomenal experience. And I also thirst after and want more of.
Pictures up of that. You got to put the pictures up of that so they can see that beautiful, amazing. So Sabrina, did he tell you about this? This is a thermal bath. There's a huge Olympic-sized pool. So they have cold water, they have hot water, they have remember that one room? It was like 130 degrees water. They were calling it the volcano room.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a spa. It's basically like a sauna spa / pool place, but it was like hundreds of years old.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. You felt like you were, not meant to be there. It felt like it was more like a historic monument, but you're there splashing with your buddies or whatever, eating a granola bar. Yeah, it was very cool experience. Yeah, awesome. And the thermal bath, the water is, coming from a source of heat in the earth, and the temperature of this huge pool was, I don't know, I'm not too good with temperatures, but it was nice. It was nice. It was just right, like a little below like a hot tub feeling, but it was the size of a whole pool.
Oh,
With like
wow.
waterfalls and all sorts of things happening. Oh man.
Yeah.
Great.
Little
And it was
cactus.
fresh water, like not salted.
No,
I
don't
somehow
think
don't
so.
remember. I think it was salted. I think it was
Was it?
naturally salted.
Maybe.
Okay.
I think so.
I don't
I
know.
actually don't remember that part. Because I remember being in the lobby going, oh, and this is natural. Like, or like seeing the little flyer being like, oh, cool. So we're not fucking ourselves up, you know?
Yeah.
But what's
Ooh, I
crazy
like-
about that was like the next day, I was still detoxing from all that hot water.
Oh, wow.
Like still, yeah. I remember we were taking the bus. We were leaving town the next day, and I still felt like it was pouring out of my pores, and I was like, I'm still sweating.
Mm.
Yeah. In Budapest, they all go on Sunday, so you detox the weekend away.
Mm.
Nice.
All the Friday, Saturday night partying you did out of your system by Monday morning.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have to itch my eye. Hold on a second.
I could feel your uncomfort. I was like, something's going on.
There it is. Dig it in there.
There it is.
Get
There
in
it
there. Smush it. Smush it good.
There we go. It's pollen season now here in Georgia. We get like a thick layer of yellow pollen everywhere. On the cars, on the ground.
We've got the floaty ones, like either the little white, you can kind of see it coming in.
Oh yeah.
Here it comes, the big chunk of yeah, I'm like, get out of my house. I'm like,
Yeah.
good. But it also feels like I'm in one of those flowers though.
Yeah. It's a little, what are they, dandelions?
Yeah, I feel like all of Portland is a dandelion right now.
Hey, what do you guys think? How many people like just got out of a huge plastic surgery on their nose right when the corona pandemic hit, and were like, fuck, I get to wear this mask. This is awesome. I can go out everywhere.
Thousands.
Right?
Thousands. Yeah.
Probably such like a cool coincidence, no?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I don't know why that came into my head, but I guess because you were talking about noses with the pollen. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, right? The silent winners of the pandemic were the people who just exited nose surgery, got a nose job.
Totally.
They got the gold medal.
Yeah, they don't have to be so alienated with their mask. They're just like everyone else.
Yeah.
I like the people who have used the mask to rob now. I think that's funny. I feel like, there's opportunities everywhere that you don't ever.
There's opportunities.
Like, oh yeah, no one will suspect me.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I go to the bakery, I feel like I'm robbing them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
anytime
this is so funny
anywhere.
feeling to me to walk in here with a mask on my face, and then you can be like under your mask, like sticking out your tongue or like breathing like a fucking primate. Like I'm like this. I'm like, I don't have to breathe through my nose today.
Yeah. I know. You could just do whatever you want under there. Nobody will know.
Right? Just like licking your lips like the whole fucking time.
Something weird. Yeah, you can't tell like what I'm doing.
No. You know what's funny? You can tell when someone's smiling or angry.
I noticed that at the kindergarten.
With the mask. Yeah.
When we picked up the kids, all the parents are in the mask, but the kids like saw the parents and were like smiling, and I was like, I see it in their eyes.
You can see it. Yeah, it's been cool seeing it. So I'm probably like in my mask. Can you see it?
I like the people that have put makeup on their mask to match their face.
Oh yeah.
So it looks like their face, but it doesn't move.
And it's like it's like the same color of their skin too, and it's just like lipstick.
Yeah, they do a really good job.
And then you got those people with the nose job walking down like, dude, you're missing the whole fucking point of this fucking shit right now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
What about that lady who she cut a hole in her mask so she could breathe because she couldn't breathe? Oh.
That's like, what is that? The screen door on the submarine or whatever?
Yeah. It's hard, man. There's so many like things that we have to like adjust to in a very short amount of time. A lot of, it's really difficult for a lot of people.
Totally. You'll have to be warriors every day.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I saw this somewhere like on Instagram or wherever where someone said, we went from like learning how to bake banana bread to gaining back our civil rights, within a matter of like 2 months or whatever, however long it's been, and it's been so much going on in our world. It's been affecting everybody and everything.
Totally. And then all at once. I think that the recovery is going to be much longer than the actual.
Yeah. Yeah,
the
definitely.
PTSD from all this is going to be, that's later. That's going to come next year. We'll be like, we're going to be all 2021, but still hanging out. I'm still hungover from 20. Yeah.
I know. I see it with like, there's been a few videos with like, it seems like more crazy white ladies like talking down to like people like randomly. Like I've seen it now, like 3 of them, just like eating, like just bitching people out for no reason and talking about like their ethnicity for no reason. And I feel like people are under pressure that they're like going berserk and just like letting out their like hatred, and I don't know, just letting it spew.
Yeah, well, they're being called out right now, so I feel like they probably feel they're on edge, and they maybe feel a little bit illiberal about their opinions. So maybe they're just letting it off the handle a little easier than they would normally, because racism is so masked. It's so hidden. It's so, they wear those masks for a reason. It's all like, I don't want you to know me. I don't want you to know I really feel this. But now, because we're all on the edge, I feel like, it is kind of like you're going to get a lot of that knee-jerk reaction stuff happening. And then it's all a part of this truth will come out. We're going to figure you out. We are calling you out. We're going to mark down your names. We're going to check your faces. We're going to know you're in the community and you suck,
Yeah.
So
and
I feel like
you have to change. I feel like once it's out in the open, there's no going back. I think you mentioned that, Joe. Like once you understand like, oh, my thought process is illogical, the brain again like can't let you go back to that. Can't let you go back to ignorance.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
So even if you are racist and you are calling people out, or are harassing people who are like, there's a lady who was stretching on like in a park, and an older white lady told her to go back to whatever Asian country or whatever. So it seemed just totally random. And apparently she's been doing this a lot. And I think even that lady, once she's being called out, that behavior stops. It has to stop because it's out in the open. Like it's the racism kind of like dissolves once it's out in the sun. Once it's out, it can't continue, I think.
Yeah, because it's negative. It's like an eating disorder. Once your eating disorder's out, or once your alcoholism, your drug, your whatever's out, you're right. I think that there is. I hope there's some truth in that. I can feel that, because
I think so.
Yeah,
like
it's really
once you're become aware of it, it's like a disease, or like like anything dark. Like once there's light, it just goes away. It kind of dissolves.
Totally.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, by her, maybe we could only hope by this woman's interactions, if she keeps doing this, someone is going to have to either put her in her place or really have a sit down with her, like a family member who's
Yeah.
maybe a younger person who's anti-fascist and not racist at all. They finally go, Grandma, this is, and just kind of explain it to her.
Yeah. And then like I think these people are also like a little nuts. So they'll have like another outlet, maybe like I don't know, a more productive disorder, like maybe picking up garbage or something
Hmm.
more productive.
Yeah, yeah. It's terrible. Can't imagine waking up every morning with that much hate. I just can't. It kind of makes me sick, and it's heavy. It would seem like it would be a lot of work.
It is. Yeah, it seems
To
like it is.
It's like, wow, you really just hate people and you don't even know them. Like, that's heavy. That's a lot of work. They have to get tired. You would hope that they would get tired of it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cycle of pain, cycle of violence, cycle of frustration, cycle of, needs not met. I'm sure, considering that dinosaurs were on this planet, considering that Neanderthals were on this planet, considering there was like fucking rats the size of Volkswagen fucking buses on this planet, there's a lot of shit that has happened that has caused a lot of pain and a lot of joy. And sadly, that's doled out completely arbitrarily. You get born up in that shit and they get your cards, you know what I mean? And we got to do our best to, try to help the ones that get doled out the bad cards and, try not to fall into the traps of the ones that get the fucking good cards, because at the end of the day, true success is measured in mental health and physical health. And love is a huge component of both of those. And we need more love in the world, you know what I mean? So all these Karens out there, it's like a fucking hotbed fucking ticket, right? So it's like almost like back when people were looking to get celebrities to punch them out or whatever because, I'll sue that motherfucker, right? It's like, yeah, hit me. You know what I mean? Like all that shit. It's now people are rolling up on Karen like that. So there's going to be a bunch of videos that are going to come out in the next weeks where there's going to be a bunch of Karens shouting out a bunch of shit because it's going to be viral and everyone knows that. And, hopefully these motherfucking Karens have somebody that loves them, somebody, somewhere, because when you
That's
got a million
interesting.
people who hate you after a video goes viral, there's pretty little hope that you're going to be like, oh, but I will turn the cheek and I will start to love when a million people hate you and sending you death threats. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like anything that's wrapped up in hate.
Yeah.
Whether
It's
it's
a bad
fucking,
scene.
whatever the impetus is, whatever the intention is, I just don't like it. It's heavy. It makes you feel bad. It drags you down because ultimately everybody knows nothing good's going to come out of it. So if there's going to be hate involved in the story, let's add a chapter of love too, right? I'm not saying like throw the book of hate away or pretend it doesn't exist. It's just like let's finish writing the book, and put some more chapters of love in there. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. I love that. We need that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Poor Karen.
It's like Ginger's after that South Park episode. They got fucking doomed, and now Karen's up. That's her.
Yeah,
turn now.
Karen. Yeah, it's a weird thing because it seems like middle management women that have a certain amount of power also get trapped in this power hungry attitude, seems like, where you become entitled and think that you deserve certain privileges. But I think it comes from like just gaining a little bit of corporate power in the workplace. It seems like that's where it comes from.
I mean, if you're a woman that's getting corporate power, there's probably a bunch of men being real shitty to you.
Oh God, yeah. Or you've done something real shitty to get there.
Right. So it's not like there's
Yeah.
like you're totally unscathed if you're a woman who has a ton of corporate power. I mean, that you're like swimming with some fucking bloodthirsty sharks if you have corporate power.
Yeah.
Whether you're a man or a woman, you're swimming with bloodthirsty sharks. But for women especially,
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All those sharks have dicks. Most of them.
Ugh, terrible. Fuck those shark dicks.
Fuck those shark dicks. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck those shark dicks.
Fuck. What you mega loading up on me, bitch? Step back. Yeah.
I want to, can we take a little 5-minute break?
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Time out.
Time out. So we're
yeah.
back.
This is fun. This is fun, guys.
I love it.
Good.
I love it. It's my one chance to like travel through space and time and be in the United States. You know?
Yay.
Oh,
This-
yeah.
It's like a portal, you know, that I enter on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Whoosh! And then I'm like having a coffee talk in the United States. And just to throw it out there in case you didn't know, you know, of course, I'm in Dusseldorf, Germany. It is 6:15 p.m. And Sabrina's in Athens, Georgia.
And it's 12:14 here in Georgia.
And Alicia's in
And-
Portland, Oregon.
And it's 9:14 a.m.
Look at that. This is like a miracle. A miracle.
And I want to give a shout out on that note to my boyfriend who was sleeping. If I woke him up, I'm sorry. I love you.
Same here. Mucho lavo.
Yes.
Mucho vive.
Much love to both of our partners.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting up with, you know, your husband, our dear friends.
Big job. Thank you. Yeah.
No.
The heavy load.
Yeah, you know, making some time, and you know, my husband too, making time to make sure that we have this time together to make a podcast for ourselves and the people that listen.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Shout
Thanks
out to
to
the
our partner.
lovers, the lovers, the lovers. Shout out to the lovers, the lovers. Shout out. We couldn't be here without you, baby.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got much love for the lovers. Totally. Make sweet love to your women tonight.
I didn't hear that.
Sweet love. Yeah.
Okay, what were we talking about? It was something good.
Punk.
What was it though? I forgot.
Yeah.
Fascist.
Oh,
Punk rock.
fascist. Okay.
Punk rock
So
does a
we-
good job of tipping off teens to fascism.
Yeah, but okay, it might not. Wasn't there also there was like we had friends that also did dress in attire that was Nazi related, but wasn't there like also like a that element where it seemed like it was okay, like people.
Because of Death in June. That was a Death in June 100%. Like,
And in the punk
mean-
scene, I remember there were some guys and gals that did it because it was the like, what do you call it? Like the extreme, like they wanted to get some attention. I don't think
Yeah.
that I knew that they weren't, but I remember them doing it and being like, dude, what are you doing? And they were just like, it's cool. It's a great shirt. And I'm just like, no, that's not a great shirt. Sending the wrong message. But yeah, I think you're right. I think there was, I understand what you're saying, Sabrina. You're right. There was this underlying mini acceptance.
I think it was
But
Death in
that-
June. I mean, I went to the Death in June show in Miami, and there was literally people dressed up full regalia Nazi uniform. And I was like, holy shit. Yeah, totally. I mean, and that was the reason why Death in June and their label got put on that list. And they got a lot of heat, you know? But that's the question, right? Like, what is art? What can be expressed through it? Because, you know, if you look at the, I suppose, I don't want to say statement from that label or from that band, but I did read something to that effect, you know? Don't quote me on this. I'm not like writing a goddamn book here. But
Yeah.
it was just a pure aesthetic, and it was a fashion, and if anything, it was like fascism, in a sense, right? It
Yeah.
was certainly not an
It
expression
was certainly not.
of
Yeah.
advocating anything to do with
But they were
the
writing
Nazi
that
Party
shock
of
line.
World War II.
They were writing the shock
Right.
line, you know?
But that's the
That
question,
you have
right?
to pay a price for that as
Do
well.
they go on
you
the
know?
list? Should they be on the list? Should they get heat? Should those T-shirts not be printed? But
I'm glad
I think
I'm not
that's
writing
what
the list.
I'm glad too. I don't want to be the arbitrator of what's right or wrong with art. God damn, that's a horrible position to be in. But I think in terms of Miami, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think it's centered
Yeah.
around people who were fans of Death in June. So I don't think any of them were into Nazi ideas. I think they were
Yeah.
into Death in June.
I always thought it was so weird because there was also like a lot of Latino kids, I felt like, and like there was also like a Cuban communism kind of link too in
Totally.
that. So it was more like maybe ideological and like, oh, I want to be shocking.
Right.
Yeah.
Like fuck the
And
system,
then-
fuck the
fuck-
narrative,
Yeah.
all of it. Yeah.
I think, but I feel like that's kind of like it's subversive because I don't think kids really understood maybe what it was representing, or that's not what they meant. But I guess that symbol is so strong. You can't just say, "Oh no, that's not what it means." Like it means what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
That never sat well in my stomach. And I would completely tell those people, what are you doing? I was shocked. And then B, I was trying to be like Oprah them. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? We don't need to do this. You know, it was like this ain't going to get you to C and D. So like, get out of here. Just throw this t-shirt away, you know?
Yeah.
Because I never, but yeah, it existed. But like we were saying, punks always like, because I grew up in the punk scene, you know, as a 15-year-old, and the goth scene for that matter. I got into both at the same age, the same time, and I always knew the difference between fascist and anti-fascist because I knew where I stood. I knew where it was. The punk community taught me that at a very early age. So it was like it drew the line in the sand immediately, and it was like, oh yeah, duh, I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's why I tried to Oprah the kid at the show with the Nazi shirt on. like
Don't
it was
do
so clear to me. Yeah, it was so clear. Like that's not the right way to be shocking. Like have your mohawk blue. Like put your mohawk up blue. That's shocking, but don't do some bullshit that you don't understand completely. It's heavy too. I took the Holocaust and all that shit really heavy. I went to the museums. I did the research. When I went to Berlin for the first time, I went to concentration camp. Like I dove deep because I do feel you need to know history to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I feel that way with like going to the Anne Frank Museum. Like I wanted to go there just to kind of like make it real, make it history real, make it like personal. Walking up the steps and feeling like imagining what it would be like to be persecuted in that manner. You know, just for a couple of hours and be able to leave, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was really touching to be there with you at the Anne Frank house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something that has a lot of impact, I'm sure, for anyone who it's like almost like ghostly,
or like a weird reality check. Like this is not just some story, you know, that you read in high school. This is for real. Like this really happened.
Yeah.
Which now is more believable with the violence that we have going on right now. It seems like, oh, if we don't pay attention, if you don't speak up, if you don't do something, that can easily happen again. Like darkness is there.
Like RuPaul says, darkness is there. Don't look into it very long. It's just a moment and then look away, back into the light. You can look into it. You can't stare. That's what he says. Do not stare into that darkness.
No, it'll eat you. It'll get you.
Yeah, it will engulf you.
I feel like that's kind of what I was talking about with the murderer cop in that moment when he was just having the dead eyes. Like if you look at his eyes, I feel like for too long you're looking into darkness. You're looking into like pure dark evil. And I feel like that permeated throughout our consciousness, as you know, when people were seeing that video, it was like evil and captured on video.
And that's like everything right now. Everything's going to be videotaped. This revolution will be televised. You know, it's true. It will. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Thank goodness. It's going to hold people accountable. It's going to make them. It's got to change things. It's got to change things. These little things in our pockets going to change things.
Yeah, they're more powerful than guns right now. I was thinking, with the dead Kennedys and how incredibly political the lyrics are, and at that time, before the internet, before DVDs, before CDs, before all of this stuff, how did he know all of that stuff? Jello Biafra, how the fuck did he know all that stuff? Because now everyone's walking around like, of course I know that what happened in the Bahamas or in Puerto Rico. Like, everybody's an expert on fucking everything. You know what I mean? In a sense, right?
Yeah.
But this motherfucker was. It's
well-researched, well-read.
Wow. That's crazy when I think about it. A lot of these punk rock bands, you know, from back in the day, where did they get their information? There was barely VHS cassettes at that time, like barely. People had barely a VCR. So was it just all books or photocopies? What the fuck?
Had to have been.
Because literally, and I think most people have to admit it, like the bulk of their knowledge about most of these types of things is totally a video stream that was absorbed. Totally. Like 100%. Like
everything we bring up. Oh yeah, I read something. You know, you saw something. You didn't read something. You said that wrong. It's all
Like we probably wouldn't even really know half the shit we know if we didn't have the videos available to us, because that is such a way that we're consuming information these days. Because it works, you know, and it's easy, it's accessible, and it's like the sugar that helps it go down somehow, because it's like you get to somehow experience it in a sense with like a human being. And like it's more of a interaction somehow, you know, memorable in a sense, right? Instead of reading it.
It's a quick, easily effective thing, you know. You got the visual, you got the sound, you got the, you know, it's quick.
So, like, old timers, like, you know, whether it's Chuck D or Jello Biafra, like, fucking respect for doing whatever fucking homework you guys did. Because I don't remember ever getting that shit passed in front of my face other than your albums, for real.
Yeah.
So, respect.
Totally.
It's everywhere now, like, literally everywhere, that stuff. But back in the day, you had, like, this fucking beautiful bird's nest of, like...
We learned from your albums. We wouldn't have known those facts if it wasn't for your records. So thank you for all of the artists that put it out there, even though it wasn't, you know, fashionable or looking right, or it was too heavy of a subject. Thank you for doing your work, because you brought us to this wokeness that we've been because of you.
Right? Like the OGs, like Ice Cube and Ice-T. Like, the way they must be feeling right now, like, finally motherfuckers are catching up.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Like, for 40 fucking years, we've been talking about this with all our heart, like it's our art, you know? And, like, y'all thought it was just, like, a fucking music video, but, hello, you know? Knock, knock. Reality showed up at the door. Yeah, crazy.
And Crass. For me, Crass was like...
For you, it was Crass,
They blew my top off. It was... I all of a sudden realized there was this different way of thinking. It changed my life. And it was as simple as him just saying, if you don't like the channel, you just change it. If you don't like religion, don't be, you know, be an atheist. If you don't like politics, be an anarchist. Like, he literally spelled it out for me that I could live my life how I wanted to live it. And it was just like, what? Right. It's my fucking choice. to not believe in all this garbage. I can do this. Every day I wake up, sure, I'm going to have someone pushing on me, wanting me to buy a house, wanting me to have kids, wanting me to be the norm. But I know for a fact that I'm against that. My body, my physical self is telling me to do something different. Why? I have no idea, but I'm going to follow it because this guy's saying that I can do whatever the fuck I want, whenever the fuck I want to. And that's why I got where I got, because of these people just blew my fucking mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Without their inspiration, I would have never realized I didn't have to just, I knew I wasn't the social norm. I knew I wasn't going to stay in Miami. I knew these things deep down, but it took a long time to be comfortable with yourself to finally do the things that you are singing in your heart for you to do. Like even like in a band, I started singing with people when I was 18, 15. I started playing guitar. 18, I started singing, but I never sang a show in front of people until I was in my 30s. It took me that long to finally be like, I'm going to be the front person of this band. It takes a long time,
Yeah. Especially if you work on yourself, like work on like any past traumas or past like hardships, or just being even like a first generation Latina, female is a big difference, in culture and change from like being an American punk rocker from, you need to have your quinceañeras and all that stuff. There's a different culture. And if you're not into that, it's really difficult. It's like you're a big weirdo.
You're a big fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
You stand out, and people don't like that. People do not like that.
No.
And then next thing you know, they turn on me. All my high school friends, my normie friends, once I started weirding out, they all turned on me. It was like in a matter of days. It was like all of a sudden, none of those people talked to me. The girls I grew up playing soccer with from 3rd grade until high school, they just turned on me. And then the weirdos didn't like me either, because I was all of a sudden shaving my head, becoming a weirdo. They were like, you're a poser. They would literally poser, pose. So it was like weirdos didn't like me. The norm girls were mad at me because I changed. All of a sudden, what do I have out here? Yeah. That was challenging.
Yeah.
But to know that I believed in this thing, I knew something in my heart was like, I'm staying here. And I remember my parents many years later were like, cheers for you, staying punk rock, getting a career.
Yeah.
Still doing everything that you dreamed about, like being in Europe all the time and not living in Miami. And like, they were finally like, we understand that you had to do it your way. And I was just like,
wow. What,
like
redemption?
Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal.
I was like, let's party, but then I didn't even know I needed that from them either, like, because I was so like self-independent and self-moving on my journey. And it was clear that I was alone on this journey because I was the only one that could feel it in my gut that I had to keep going. But then to hear it from them was just like, oh shit, that also felt good too. Thanks a lot, So it's an interesting things, interesting stuff.
It's weird to be an adult and know that you need your parents' approval, oddly, like that you are an adult. It doesn't really matter what they think, really, because it's not going to change really what's your situation, your circumstance. But to know that they get it, that they see the result of like your craziness or like your weirdness, making it make sense to them is like, it feels so good, to have just that understanding from people that maybe didn't understand you for a long, long time.
Yeah, maybe 40 years. What is she doing? She's still, Did that happen to you too, Sabrina?
Yeah. I'm in Athens, Georgia, so I didn't move that far away. But even for a Latino family, for anybody to leave the family in Miami to leave South Florida is a big deal.
Mhm.
It's not usual, I don't think. Like most
Mm-mm.
Latina women have to stay kind of close by their family,
Mhm.
and which is fine. It's cool if you want to, but I'm like in the middle. I want a family and a husband and like a house and stuff like that. But I also want to have my independence and be, living in a different state, having my own life. Um, it's hard for Latino moms and dads to understand, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you leaving? Or like, why are you vegetarian? Or like,
Mhm.
why don't you like to go to the beach every time, all the time?
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I'm more beach going than you guys are, I think. But it's, I'm definitely more, in the alternative scene or whatever.
Mhm.
But I was also kind of like, they did kind of understand me though, in a way, because, my mom took me to the kitchen club when I was like, whatever, in high school, and took me to go to Nirvana, so she did, definitely try, but, um, there was a few, like maybe 10 years where I didn't speak to my mom. And, I know that was very painful for me, like not being able to have that, like, uh, parental relationship. And so it's now I feel like they, uh, like we can talk more now, like we can get along better now.
Mhm.
That's great.
Yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
if you felt like that, Joe, like
Yeah, did
leaving is a
you?
big deal. Like, oh, like because you moved to Germany. Like, is that a big deal? Like in your family, like, oh, he's so crazy or anything like that.
I suppose we'll have to go a little deeper, ladies. Because I
What kind of toe
think
jam was that?
because I think there's more at play with that question than you realize.
Oh, okay.
Because I have a sibling, my sister,
Yes.
and if it were my sister that you were speaking to right now, and it were my sister who lived the life I lived, then the answer would be completely different than mine, the one I'm about to give regarding myself. So, what I'm saying is, I think because I am a boy,
I knew you were going there.
I was not given any sort of treatment like you're describing. It was more like, oh, that's what you're going to do? Oh, wow. Okay. Be caution.
Wow.
Take caution, be careful.
Mhm.
Right? But if it were if it were my
would that ever
sister,
happen.
if it were my sister,
Seriously.
I don't think
No,
she would have
seriously.
left the country, because I think she would have heard a very different response. So I don't mean to go deeper on a question that was meant to be on this surface,
Oh,
but I
absolutely
can't
not.
help but reflect on what
I'm here
I
for
think.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To me, it's so obvious, like, that my answer is different than yours because of my gender.
Truth.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess is that what you call male privilege, or what is it called?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
so
what's
there you
funny
have
is
it.
when we first started hanging out, I'll never forget this. Your house was the first time that I realized your male privilege was different from my female privilege. And it was because we would have slumber parties and we'd all hang out and we wake up and mama had vitamins downstairs on the table for all of us and we drink our water and it was no big deal.
Yeah,
That
nothing.
would never fly at my house.
Or even next door to where I was sleeping, in my sister's room.
Or even in her bedroom.
In the same house.
Oh, no.
Not even in the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
she was the neighboring room. Yeah, she was right there.
and that
We were
was
sharing the same
she would
bathroom.
never be able to do that.
I remember it was like, it's funny, you were the first dude that like your family was so loving and so opening. But I remember I was like, they just let me stay over and it ain't like nothing. I didn't. It blew my brain open because I realized that obviously my mom would never
Yeah.
wake up and give them vitamins and breakfast and be so sweet. we would get those good smoothies. Your mom would make us smoothies.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
so
The orange Julius, yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, the frozen
that
orange
was
drink.
when I realized. Yeah, that was when I realized you had a different privilege than I did.
Totally.
So interesting. And I lived on my own at that point. I was in a warehouse. I moved myself out and moved to the craziest place, which is a warehouse in Hialeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll never forget the spaghetti on the top of the trash.
I wanted my own rules, so I had to get myself out of there. I wanted my way only. I was 17. I was just turning 18.
That was the first time I ever seen a living situation for a teenager like that, you know?
Yeah.
I was definitely like wet behind the ears when I walked into that place. I was like, oh my God. Like, did you guys like, is this legal? Like, what? Like, you're living like that?
It was not legal.
Like, you had a door that was made of cardboard that was duct taped to the wall, I remember. Like, it was like a lot of cardboard, like, fixtures.
No. Okay, let me give you guys the picture, because now you're getting some crazy pictures in your head about some cardboard door. No, it was it was like a warehouse in Hialeah where there was companies and deliveries and different businesses. And like most warehouses, there was a little office section. And then there was a big warehouse door, the big garage door that would open up, and that was the big space. But inside the office was where I lived. So there was a front room where the little desk, we actually still had the desk of whoever was in that office. Desk was in the front room, and then you go up the stairs, and then there's the second office, which was, I guess, the president's suite or whatever. And that was where I lived.
Your bed was, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was 2 rooms. And the reason why I had the cardboard on the window, it was a huge office window. And I was just thinking, you know, being an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, I was like, I don't want to see the sun early. I want to sleep in. I'm not going to buy curtains. So I just put cardboard there so then I could draw and do my art on the cardboard.
But didn't you have like a cardboard like saloon door kind of a thing too? Like at some...
You made that shit up.
Did I? There was...
So, you know what? Okay, so there was a door to get into the office.
But like I'm thinking like just to get up the stairs, there was like a cardboard...
I love that you picked that. Because in my life, I love those kind of like... Anyway, but yeah, no, there was a regular door to get in. But then once you were in the first office... Sabrina's... okay, she's back. There was a sliding glass door between that office and this office. That was a weird door. Yeah, no cardboard door. Sorry, Joe.
That's funny. Yeah, my memory gets twisted. I remember I backed up into like some kind of sign over there. I dented my car or something like that.
Oh yes, you were so bummed out.
Yeah, something like that. I remember. Yeah, that was a cool place though. I remember thinking like, wow, how cool, you know? Like, this is crazy. What is this? I've never seen a teenager living like this. I've never seen an adult living like this. I don't know what the fuck this is. Like, is this like urban camping? What the fuck are you doing here? Like,
and the sad...
Definitely had a punk rock feeling. For sure.
The sad part is we got that so we could do shows, and mostly I wanted to have art shows and music shows, and I wanted to do both and have a little scene. But because it went so unwell with the person I was living with, from the moment that I moved in, it was immediately 2 different living situations. She was in the downstairs part, and I was in the upstairs part, and we very, very rarely interacted at that point. It just didn't go well, you know.
With the spaghetti.
What?
With the fucking spaghetti.
Sabrina's freezing up again.
Oh man. Yep. Sometimes
those were the days.
Yeah, those are the days. It's so funny. I've had other interactions with spaghetti like that, and I'm just like, who does that? Ain't you, I know that, but...
Yeah. I didn't eat in that kitchen. I showered with my flip-flops on in that bathroom.
Honestly, that's to me the only use flip flops really even have is for like escaping nasty showering surfaces. That's like the whole. That's the gist of a flip flop. That and just getting your feet over really hot sand. We paused, but what popped in my head real quick is that when we met at the mall 25 years ago, you mentioned how we were both wearing steel-toe Doc Martens and how we kind of had that vibe. And it's so funny because, at that time, if someone was wearing steel-toe Doc Martens, you knew you shared another fucking vibe. There was no other way.
Yes.
There was no other way. But today, you know,
but
whatever.
Today, you don't know.
You don't know. It's a wolf. That's a wolf in Doc Martens.
They might be.
That's a wolf foot.
You don't know there's going to be some like super magic because they could be anybody in those docs because they're fashionable.
Totally right. They're not even made by the same company. It's like a completely different product. Even just looks the same.
Like Nikes, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it was owned by Nike.
Yeah, you're wearing Nikes now.
They're Nikes.
I really don't know. Anyway, yeah. That's the thing about fashion back then is you kind of knew when you saw something like that or purple hair or a shaved head, you could go, oh, we're in common. It wasn't easy to do that. Because that person, me, me with my shaved head and my purple hair, I was getting so much bullshit, fingers in the head, pushing. I remember they used to call me all kinds of names that I won't repeat in the hallway. It was, we got spat on at the mall. We got rocks thrown at us in the cars. They would spot that we were different. We were weird. Oh, now we're going to beat them up or bully them. Now, so when you saw someone, it was like purple hair was like an armor. They had their like full leather jacket on. Now they're saying, I'm a warrior and I'm going to do this and stand up because I like this and I'm into this. And I'm going to take whatever I have to take to do my thing. Where now it's like, oh, everyone and their mother can have purple hair and green hair. It's so accepted widely. You don't have to suffer those consequences for just doing what the fuck you want to do, Yeah.
Yeah. So, now we have doctors with tattoos now and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so different.
It is. And I don't know if I guess that's good. I think it's maybe a good thing. Maybe people feel more free to do whatever they want, I guess.
Yeah, it's just widely accepted now. So it doesn't feel so, oh, she's got, now it's like if you have a face tattoo, it's like, oh, you have a face tattoo. There's like another level,
You know what I feel bad about though? Is like the 97-year-old grandmas and grandpas out there that are just like on that same walk they've been on fucking million times to go get milk at the corner store. And then they bump into some dude with face tattoos, tattooed eyeballs, fucking piercing, and they think it's the devil. I feel bad. Like when there's some crazy band that's like touring in this weird small fucking podunk town, and they stop at that little corner store, and the little fucking just perfect timing. Little grandma walks in. She's been in that store a million times, and then like
what's that going to be for us? I feel like when we're old, we're gonna have like kids with things plugged into their heads, like Elon Musk style, a port on the back of their neck and
port definitely
stuff like that, and that will be weird to us, and we'll be like, oh, in shock. Like, look at this, half human, half cyborg thing.
I don't know if that would shock any of us though, because we're all kind of already aware of that. So you have to go a little further than that. What do you think it really will be that will shock us when we're 95?
It'll have to be plastic surgery, horns and like really like chins that come devil out, like
new
ears.
Jaws, like a jaw, like a plastic jaw, like a super
new
point
shoulders,
or like crazy.
You're gonna
jaws.
get some. Like
new shoulders.
I think we're gonna turn into different characters where we have different things that aren't natural, kind of like the people that get the tails or whatever. You'll have a tail
or like a bird nose or some shit.
Yeah, like something you're really into. You like Pinocchio. Okay, you get this long extension on your nose. I think it's gonna get way more creative and way more permanent.
Do you guys? Are you familiar with this artist named Orlan? Orlan. She's from like the 70s, and she has plastic surgery of like bumps in her head and like weird cheekbones. So
Yeah.
she uses plastic surgery as like uh the to make herself look gruesome, I guess.
Mm.
Um, so maybe I think that would be cool. I would want people to. I think that kind of plastic surgery would be more interesting than like having
Yeah.
a smaller nose. It'd be cool to be like have all kinds of like weird bumps and
I'm
like
so not
horns.
into that. I think
I
it's
think
so
that's cool.
gross. Ugh.
I,
I think it's so. Any
I
of those.
mean,
It gross.
people have
Like
that
I
stuff
mean, I don't mean
underneath.
it
the
like even
rigid.
like as
Yeah.
in like my aesthetic or not. Like it grosses me out. Like it's like a horror
I mean,
movie to me when I see that
it's
some of that body mod stuff. It just like I'm like.
Do
it's
you
not
guys?
for me either. But
Yeah.
I think that whatever people need to do to feel more themselves, go ahead, do your thing.
It might
Yeah.
be taking a walk with a good friend, a glass of wine or a fucking joint or something first though, before you leap off the fucking bridge with a fucking horn under your goddamn skin. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
That's how I feel about all those like drug companies that have those commercials. Are you depressed? Well, here, this will make you feel. And it's like always like in the commercial, someone's at the beach, and I'm thinking, how about you just go to the fucking beach? Like, why? Like, this makes you feel like you're at the beach? Well, you know what makes you really feel like you're at the beach? When you're
Just
at the
go.
fucking beach. Then you really fucking feel it. And if that's what's helping you feeling like that, why not just fucking feel like that?
Yeah, we're constantly doing shit like that, though. That's
and I'm
our
thinking
way.
that's
That's
a
our
lot to
way.
do with that crazy shit. Like I hope that doesn't become like a huge trend where there's like like a lot of people with fucking gruesome fucking body mods because it just.
I mean, I
grosses me
feel
out.
like that's going on now with the lips. I feel like and the hips and the butt. I don't know if you guys seen that in real life. It looks weird.
I have. I saw it when I was in Colombia. I was just like, woo, woo, woo.
Fire explosion! Ah! Animatronics! Wah, 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 wah. Yeah.
Well, you guys are
Spectacular.
probably getting tired. We're hitting the 3-hour point.
We're hitting the marks,
Yeah.
ringing the bells.
Yes. If you're still here on our podcast, thank you so much for
Yes.
tuning in and listening to us ramble about our past, rehashing the past, rehashers. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in and being part of our little club.
Yeah, your darlings, really super fucking troopers. I mean, goodness gracious. Thank you for tuning in so long. You can tune in, but you can't tune a fish. Isn't that how the joke goes? Yeah, bless you, love you. Wonderful to see you, and look forward to it happening again.
Put up a like, hit the subscribe.
Yeah, do that too. Why not? It's not going to kill you.
Yeah, watch our other shows. See what kind of shenanigan talking we get into.
Nice to meet you all. I'm sure I'll see you again.
Thank you. Big thanks to our special guest, Alicia, for bringing her light and her energy up in this piece. We love you, and we want you back. So we'll see when that happens, but we do highly anticipate it and look forward to it. So, yeah, much love. Big hugs. Intergalactic Space Jam. Success. Mission accomplished. And, yeah.
Power to the people.
Power to the people.
Power to the people.